There's a lot of things going on in the world. That's why we got Apex to talk about it. We got to talk about Ruby Rose. So apparently, Ruby Rose is making the rounds around the interwebs. When a famous interview she had back with Vlad, I don't know how long ago, maybe about a year or so ago. But anyway, there were some reports when you look at the time dates and look at the time stat that apparently Ruby Rose is messing around with Travis Scott back when she was an underage minor. Now, what's that got to do with us? I'm not exactly sure, but it brings to light a lot of these things about like the rap community and back with the P Diddy shit and like just how a lot of the culture of just today's societies it's just warped and fucked up. So like I've been finding out more about Ruby Rose since the Drewski relationship that's been kicking off. And everybody's talking about how Drewski is like he's the man, he got Ruby Rose, and how if you're ugly, you got the money, you can make things happen for yourself. But when I see it, I see kind of like a tragic experience for this young lady. Very tragic. Because we got this beautiful young lady, she's dealing with a bunch of rappers, and it brings the question like, how are these rappers finding out about this young girl? How are they getting in contact? And it brings more into light, maybe like with the Drake and the pedophile claims by Kendrick. Same thing with P Diddy. It's like, do we have some Epstein type level stuff going on in the rap community? Like, is this normalized? Is this what's really going on? It's really horrifying when you kind of think about it from just a human perspective, because a lot of times we have a very difficult time acknowledging these things and speaking about it, because a lot of times like we look at the cloud of the celebrity. And one of the things about celebrityism or the celebrity worship is that we kind of undermine and we overlook the behaviors of otherwise just demeaning and degenerate behavior that we otherwise would not accept if these were not nationally known people. And so when you kind of look at the Ruby Rose thing, like maybe she doesn't know any better. Maybe that's what she wanted to do. Who knows? But it's like we look at the men in the group. It's like, damn, man. It's like, are you guys that hung up on a young lady like that hasn't even got out of high school yet? And it's weird. It's fucking weird because you would think somebody who has all this money, like clout, and ability to kind of get with any woman they want to get with, would steer clear of this type of behavior. But instead, this seems to be like the constant theme. And it's not even just in the rap community. Like, if you look at the higher ups of like political people, like the Epstein thing is not all that shocking when you kind of think about like people with this type of money and power. This is what they're choosing to exercise, this power and will. And maybe this is the symptom of a sick society. Like as I'm getting older, I'm starting to realize the I don't know if it would be evil, but just the gluttony, the greed, the degenerate behavior, the very nature of man almost shows like its worst self the higher people climb. And Amir Chell Sonnet has a very interesting quote where he says, "As you start to make money, you don't necessarily rise to a higher class of people. What you rise to is a higher class of scumbag." Somebody who's a scumbag of the highest level. So instead of being a scumbag for like dime bag and nickel bags of weed, now you're getting scumbags of multi-million-dollar people who have islands where they're shipping young kids off. And this is a sad state. It truly is. Like it's disgusting. Because the more I start to read and the more I start to learn about these things, it horrifies me as a man who tries to be good. I try to be the best I can. I make mistakes. I learn from them, just like anybody else. But to see this type of shit play out and to see like the comments, which is more like almost jokes about it, this is very serious matters. Like even with the P. Diddy, I think Charleston White spoke on this more. How Charleston White kind of spoke that like P. Diddy's not going down. There's people he's protected. And it makes you question like who's protecting P. Diddy? Who's protecting Epstein? Who's protecting these people that allow them to be able to navigate and do these particular like horrendous acts that are like jeopardizing the youth and of young people? And it's just sad, man. It's fucking sad when you really start to think about it. So this is a short one. I don't really want to go too deep on it because there's not much to say. This is other than like these rappers and these higher politicians. They're just filthy, slimy people. We need to clean up our like act as Americans, clean up our act as people. Like if you see something, say something. But most of us are not going to say something because most of us are scared. We realize we're kind of powerless. But I think together, we all band together, we could fix a lot of this bullshit. But hey, man, that's just the reality. The cold, harsh reality of life is that those with the power and those that don't have the power, the ones that have the power choose to exercise it in the worst way possible. And very rarely do we see people who have the power to actually do good within this world. And if I can grow this channel large enough, if I can get to a point where I'm of a higher stature where I can do good, I'm gonna choose to do good. I would hope that I would find myself in a position to do better. But yeah, pray for Ruby Rose, because I mean, everybody's gonna say she's a thought, she's been passed around, but it's like at some point some guy has to say like, hey, can we stop the madness? Can we just stop it?